نستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Alhamdulillah, 2 days ago Allah Azza wa Jalla allowed us to complete the days of Eid, Ayam al-Tashriq. And we know as Muslims we have 2 holidays or 2 celebrations. We have the Eid for Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr. After 1 month of ibadah, Quran, Qiyamul Layl, worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal gives us with a day of celebration, which is Yawm or Eid al-Fitr. And as for Hajj, for those people who went and did Hajj, after days and nights of traveling, going from camp to camp, tent to tent, going from one location to another, doing dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal gives us with the Eid al-Adha. And as for Ramadan, we know the main physical action that we do is fasting and Qiyamul Layl. And the main spiritual action that we live with is the Quran. One thing we ask ourselves after the month of Ramadan is, how or where is Quran in our lives? Number one thing we ask is, where is Quran in our lives? شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. And as for Hajj, we know the main physical action that we do is Hajj or sacrifice. But what is the main spiritual action that we leave after Eid al-Adha? Everybody knows the one for Ramadan. Like, what about Eid al-Adha? What about Ashr Ayyam al-Hijjah? What is the main spiritual action that we're supposed to leave with? It is the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla. If you look at Hajj or the Ashr Ayyam al-Hijjah, day in and day out, the number one thing we're reminded is the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla. In the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla was mentioned about Hajj, لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ وَيَذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ. So they may see their benefits when they go to Hajj, and so they can do the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla, whether it's through slaughtering or whether it's through the Ashr Ayyam al-Hijjah, as the scholars say. If you look at even the Eid, أَيَامُ أَكْلٍ وَشُرْبٍ وَذِكْرِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. The days for eating and drinking and remembering Allah Azza wa Jalla. From beginning of Hajj to end, لَبَّيْكَ اللَّهُمَّ لَبَّيْكَ لَبَّيْكَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَكَ لَبَّيْكَ إِنَّ الْحَمْدَ وَالنِّعْمَةَ لَكَ وَالْمُلْكَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَكَ. For those of us that didn't, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Wallah alhamd. All of this is to show you the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Day in and day out, you see after salawat for those days, what do we do after every salah? Dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla, whether it's general or whether it's restricted. That's why even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he said khairu du'a du'a yawm Arafah, that the best du'a is the du'a of Yawm Arafah, and the best thing that me and the prophets before us done was the dhikr. What dhikr was it? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. But dhikr, is it that important? When you know salah is number one thing after the shahadatayn. We hear of Hajj, pillar of Islam. When you think of Qiyam al-Layl, you think of those who are close to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Lakin dhikr, saying subhanallah, saying alhamdulillah, is it that important? If you want to know something's value, you see if Allah Azza wa Jalla valued it or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam valued it. A man came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, inna shara'i al-Islam qad kathurat alayya. فأخبرني بشيء أتشبث به وأدخل به الجنة. O Rasulullah, the actions, the a'mal to do in Islam became a lot. He hears about Qiyamul Layl and the reward. He says, SubhanAllah, this has to be the best action. He hears about Hajj, Al-Hajj al-Mabrur, laysa lahu jazaa'un illa al-Jannah. Whoever does Hajj, khalas, you get Jannah. And the only thing we're here for is Jannah. He hears Siyam. Whoever fasts has to be the best. Siyam with Dawood. He hears Sadaqah. He says, this has too many avenues for Jannah, too many avenues for khayr. Like, he tell me one thing that I can stick to. أَتَشَبَّثُ بِهِ وأدخل به الجنة. What did Prophet Muhammad say? لا يزال لسانك رطبا من ذكر الله. Let your tongue always be wet with the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. With the dhikr of Allah, with the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Something that you can do when you're busy. Something that you can do when you're free. Something that you can do when you're tired. Something that you can do when you're energetic. Something that you can do when you're standing, when you're sitting, when you're lying. الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ. Something you could do without even being pure. You don't have to have tahara like for salah. But yet, something a lot of us may not do. How many of us were just walking, thinking about work, thinking about home, thinking about responsibilities, thinking about dunya? How many of us think about Allah Azza wa Jal? Sometimes thinking about nothing. Like couple words, couple things that could have been for investment for akhirah. You wasted it. This is not like salah where you have to wake up and make wudu. This is not like hajj where you have to save up for a lot of money. This is not like siyam where you have to cut down from a lot of your shahwat. This is something that doesn't need anything. But yet, a lot of us may not do. And a nafs, like Ibn Qayyim say, if you don't busy with the haqq, shaghalat bil batil. If you don't busy your nafs with the haqq and good, it will busy with falsehood. How many times we have a very busy with goodness, but we're busy with sins. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioning this value, what did he say? كلمتان خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان حبيبتان الرحمن سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. 2 words, خفيفتان على اللسان, easy on the tongue. ولكن it may be easy on the tongue, لكن ثقيلتان في الميزان, heavy on the weights. Not on the weights of this dunya, on the weights that matter, the weights of akhirah. حبيبتان الرحمن, that are more beloved to Allah Azza wa Jal, are very beloved to Allah Azza wa Jal. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim. 2 words, subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim. You can say that 5 times, you can say that 10 times, you can say that 100 times, you can say that 1,000 times throughout your day. How many of us say it even 5 times? How many of us say it even once every single day? How many of us even say it once every single day? أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه من والاه. أما بعد, we were mentioning dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, and it being the main course of action that we take on the days of Ashr Ayyam al-Hijjah. And I was mentioning that it is the main spiritual action that we should live with after the Ayyam of Hajj and after Ayyam of 10 days of al-Hijjah. And we know that, we mentioned that dhikr is something very simple, but yet many of us may not do. ولكن, what are some of the virtues and benefits of dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal and remembering Allah Azza wa Jal? We know it's easy on the tongue. We know it's something the Prophet ﷺ say, keep consistent. And we know something simple that we can all make consistent. That's what Prophet ﷺ say, أَحَبُّ أَعْمَالِ اللَّهِ أَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ. That the most beloved actions to Allah Azza wa Jalla are those which are consistent, even if it's small. It's something that everybody can make consistent in their lives. What are some of the actual benefits of dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla, remembering Allah Azza wa Jalla? Number 1, success in this dunya. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Remember Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah, so you may be successful. Every single person, if you talk to them, they want to be successful. Every single person wants to be successful in this dunya and the akhirah. We may define success in different ways. Like everybody wants to be successful in this dunya and the akhirah. Allah Azza wa Jalla said your success is with remembering Allah Azza wa Jalla. How can it not be when you're remembering the Most High? How can it not be when you remember the one that created you? How can it not be when you're remembering the one that created success or made success itself? If you want something in this dunya from somebody, you don't get it from them by being mean to them, disrespectful to them, going away from them. You get it by coming closer to them. Imagine being closer to the most merciful, the one that can give you success from any corner that you want. Everything is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And by Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah promised us success. إِنَّهُ لَا يُخْلِفُ الْمِعَادِ. Number 2, with the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, does the heart find peace? Does the heart find serenity? Does the heart find solace? أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. Only with the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal does the heart find peace. How many people are complaining about depression? How many people complain about stress? How many people complain about life problems? And for those people that complain, all you have to ask yourself is, where is the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal in your life? You may see somebody in America, very wealthy, made more money than he can ever imagine, but yet he's talking about how he can't sleep at night. But yet he's talking about depression. But yet he's going to the hospital every time. High blood pressure, depression, stress. No dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. But you can go to a village far in East Africa where there's no lights, no water, but he's happier than anybody that you know. The dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Only thing that makes him happy is picking up the Quran of Allah Azza wa Jal. And yet you'll see somebody in Beverly Hills in the mansion talking about, he did suicide yesterday. You're going to hear somebody, mashallah, amazing, this guy was good, he's depressed. But you never hear, you'd hear people back in the day talk about they're sad. You hear people talk about they had problems. Like to this extent, when everything is going right. If somebody, let's say, is dealing with a certain problem, if somebody's actually, like somebody who has everything go right for them in this dunya, everything, no problems, no debt, no nothing. In fact, he's doing better than ever. But yet he's still falling into sin, still falling into depression. It's with the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. And only with the dhikr of Allah does the heart find peace. Number 3, by remembering Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal will remember you. The Most High will remember you. If today any single person got a message from the president in any country, you would feel valuable. If any single person or any of us would have got a message from a person that we respect or love, we would have felt respected and honorable. Imagine if Allah Azza wa Jal remembered you. If Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned you. If Allah Azza wa Jal reminded you that He remembers you. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me, I shall remember you. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me and I shall remember you. By remembering Allah Azza wa Jal, you might remember Allah Azza wa Jal with yourself or with people. But imagine Allah Azza wa Jal remember you and mention you with Himself or with an audience better than this audience, with the angels. Saying, this is my slave, this is my servant, and He remembered me while everybody else was sitting. He remembered me while everybody else was busy with this dunya. Imagine. And in Yawm al-Qiyamah you'll go back to all this ujur, all these rewards stacked up just by saying a couple tasbihs after salah. Just by making dhikr while you're walking through the suq. While you're walking through Mall of America, everybody's sitting, you remember Allah Azza wa Jal. Just by driving, you already had a red stop anyways. You already had a red light. By remembering Allah Azza wa Jal. By playing basketball, you're on break, remembering Allah Azza wa Jal. You're at school, you're off, remembering Allah Azza wa Jal. And in Yawm al-Qiyamah, you thought, maybe the sins might add up. You thought Allah Azza wa Jal erased all of that and remembered you when you most needed Him. Times are tough, and Allah Azza remembered you. Never be that person that only calls Allah Azza when times are tough, and when times are good, nowhere to be found. Imagine you remember Allah Azza when times are good, and Allah Azza remembers you when you most need Him. I want to finish off with one story. It was mentioned that Imam Ahmed, may Allah have mercy on him, traveled to a different city. When you travel to a different city, back in the days, people didn't know each other by face, people knew each other by name. Today, somebody that lives in a village in Thailand can go viral and become famous today. Everybody knows him. Like back in the days, even if you were the Imam of the Haramain, nobody knows you by face. There wasn't Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. There was nothing. So if you travel to another city, unless somebody says this is him, nobody's going to know you. So he traveled to a different city and he had to stay somewhere. So what did he say? Let me stay at the masjid. He tried to stay at the masjid. The masjid keeper or the mueddin or the person who was taking care of it said, you have to leave. He tried to stay at the doorstep and sleep there. He said, you can't stay here either, you gotta go. He didn't say, I'm Imam Ahmed, I'm the scholar, I'm this. Right away he would have said, oh Sheikh, they would have got it made. 5-star hotel if they had it back then. Like he didn't say that. So he said, khalas. So what did he do? He was standing outside and a man that had a store saw him. He said, what are you doing? I don't have a place. Come inside. So he brought him in. And the man started talking to him. Imam Ahmed started watching him. Imam Ahmed noticed that this guy, as he's working, he keeps on doing dhikr. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. And he said, brother, I noticed something. He said, I noticed you do a lot of dhikr. But when I ask you, what did you benefit from this dhikr? Something that you saw in your life, a benefit that you saw in your life. Obviously dhikr has benefit, like what's something that you personally experienced? He said, brother, by doing the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, I benefited many things. And amongst them is that everything I made dua for, I received. Except one thing. He said, what is that one thing? Is to meet Imam Ahmed. And who's the man asking him? Imam Ahmed himself. This man will do dhikr when? When he's working. Like we said, doesn't need your time, doesn't need your energy, doesn't need your thought. Like he took advantage of his opportunity. And Allah Azza wa Jal blessed him in many different ways. When we think of ibadah, like we said, we think of sadaqah. Somebody who paid $500,000 for sadaqah, mashallah, we think he has one way ticket to Jannah. But imagine a guy that doesn't think it every single day and remember Allah Azza wa Jal. We have to remember, brothers and sisters in Islam, even though this ibadah sounds very simple, but yet it's hard. Why do I say it's hard? Because a lot of us don't do it. If it was easy, everybody would have done it. Like for change, there's always a time. And tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your lives. But the question is, or the reality is, I should say, tomorrow's not even promised. So start from today, everybody, make sure to make dhikr a priority in your life. After salah, while you're driving, while you're busy, and hopefully Allah Azza wa Jal will make us like those people that when they make dua, Allah Azza wa Jal accepts right away. Ya ibad, inna Allahu malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammad ma ta'aqaba al-layla wa an-nahar. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في غزة اللهم انصرهم نصرا عزيزا اللهم انصرهم نصرا عزيزا وأقم الصلاة
الله